ready to tell a story.
It's time for Comics Kids!
Hey guys and gals, Mr. Craig here again from the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Green Bay and the Boys and Girls Club Virtual Club and Boys and Girls Club Creates. And I'm here now for number 2 of our session in making comics. That's right. And we're going to be working on our stories today. That was what I told you last time, and now that's what we're going to be continuing on. And story is going to be crucial. It's important to have great characters, right? Absolutely. And we learned about that the first time. But now we have to make a story that's going to kind of go from starting point to finish point. Our character that we designed at the Boys and Girls Club Greater Green Bay here is Baghead. And I'm going to be making a Baghead story, but I'm going to do it with a little bit of a twist. And I did a video a while ago in my Art Smart Shorties about setting up a story. So I'm going to sort of follow that format in how I'm going to tell my story right now. And it starts out with a series of 6 different steps, or how many ever steps you need to fill your page. I'm going to go with 6. And number 1, once upon a time there was a character named Baghead. And every day Baghead would, and now this is where I have to figure out something that I want to have him doing. And I'm going to have him going fishing. Every day Baghead would go fishing. So he's going fishing. And number 2, this is what happens every day of his life until one day this happened instead. Until one day, Tommy Smoking Brain showed up. Until Tommy Smoking Brain okay, and that was pretty weird. Now that changed everything, so we changed our story. So until now that Tommy showed up, now what happens next? And because Tommy showed up, Baghead had to share his sandwiches. Had to share his sandwiches. And now I just spelled sandwiches wrong. I just want to get the idea down and I'm working super fast, I can correct it later on. One of the things you want to kind of learn how to do is just to work super fast. Don't worry so much about getting hung up on the mistakes and muscle through so that we can kind of get to the fun and crazy parts. So now, because he had to share his sandwiches, he was hungry for the rest of the afternoon. So he was hungry for the day. And now we're at the end of the story, so we want to get ready for the ending until finally he found a bag of apples. No. Until finally until finally Tommy Smoking Brains shared sandwiches with him. So or shared his lunch. Or what could we have him share? Maybe some ice cream. That would be great. That would be a great visual. Until Tommy Smoking Brain shared ice cream with Baghead. That's a crazy, crazy story. And now, here we go at the end, our last panel. And from that day forward, every day, Baghead would take extra sandwiches to the fishing hole. Take extra sandwiches to the fishing hole. Take extra sand to fishing hole. Okay, very cool. So I've got a very basic story here. Let me share it with you. Once upon a time, there was a character named Baghead, and every day Baghead would go fishing. Until one day, he was interrupted by a guy named Tommy Smoking Brains. And when he was there, he decided that he would share his sandwiches with Tommy Smoking Brains. And because he gave his sandwiches away, he was hungry for the rest of the day. Until finally, Tommy shared ice cream with Baghead. And from that day forward, Baghead always would take extra sandwiches to the fishing hole. Fun, cute story. So now that you've written your own comic book story, you are officially a comic book writer now too. And I would like to share with you a very famous comic book writer by the name of Stanley Martin Lieber. And Stanley Martin Lieber is a name that you might not be familiar with, but some of you out there are already saying, I know that guy. That's Stan Lee. Yeah, Stan Lee was his hip-hop name. And Stan Lee was born December 28th, 1922. And if he would have been alive this last month, he would have actually been 100 years old, and a lot of fans were celebrating his birthday. But he passed away in November of 2018. Now, Stan Lee is someone who helped collaborate on a lot of different superheroes that we're familiar with. Spider-Man he worked on with Steve Ditko, the Fantastic Four and Thor, and a number of different characters with Jack Kirby, Galactus and the Silver Surfer and Black Panther. He also created the characters Iron Man and Hulk, Ant-Man and the Wasp, the X-Men, and Daredevil and Doctor Strange, just to name a few of the characters that he helped to write and make famous. Now again, he didn't do that all on his own. He had a team of artists that helped him as well, and sometimes, and many times, most of the times, they'd contribute ideas back and forth as they were working as a team. Stan Lee also served some time in the United States Army, so he is a veteran as well. His division, one of a very few number of people who were playwrights for the United States Army. In his team was another artist creator by the name of Charles Adams, as well as another artist creator named Theodore Geisel. And the names you might not be familiar with, but Charles Adams was Chaz Adams, who created the Addams Family. And Theodore Geisel is none other than Dr. Seuss, who is a very big favorite of mine too. As a creator, as a writer, Stan didn't do a lot of drawings. He did do some cartooning, but he really wasn't the artist behind the characters. He was the writer-creator. So you can also think about that. It's like, hey, I'm not really good at drawing yet, but I love drawing stories or writing stories. That might be your thing. Maybe you want to be a writer and find a team of artists that you can work with. Now, gang, we're going to be working really hard in the coming days on our story. So I'm glad that you have a polished little tale that you're ready to tell. But keep in mind, we can always tweak it. We can always change it. Who's the writer-creator of this book? You are. And you can create it to whatever you'd like it to be. So, stay creative. My name is Mr. Craig from the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Green Bay, as well as the virtual Boys and Girls Club and Boys and Girls Club Creates. So I'm saying, gang, stay creative, keep your mind in gear, and have a fantastic day. See you soon.